In summary to Cookie's Big Data article, he talks about the increase of digital data where Facebook users leave and comment nearly 3 billion times a day. This amount of data is used in a digital trail that companies can mine to learn about user preferences. Big data ascendancies represent shifts in the way we analyse information and how we understand and organise society. We can analyse far more data and have a clearer view on subcategories. As scale increases, the number of inaccuracies increase as well. We will know the sense of general direction rather than knowing the reason why. Google predicted a flu epidemic prior to health agencies from searches of its users. Big data is becoming a corporate asset, economic input, and the foundation of new business models. Meanwhile, the issue us individuals face is a shift from privacy to probability, which ethically poses free will versus data. We're entering a world where constant data-driven predictions, where we may not be able to explain the reasons behind our decisions. Tom Cruise became his own victim in the data-driven Minority Report, a sci-fi set in a world where big data can predetermine crime before it is committed, and therefore stop these future actions happening. But ethically, what does this mean? If the crime hasn't been committed, then are the accused actually guilty? Have you ever thought about breaking the law? Imagine the prospect of being arrested for it, and to what level of precision does big data offer? We find out that under wraps there is often a conflict between two of the precogs, but it will often take the dominating cog's information over the others. If there is an altercation in interest, then what does this mean to the accused? Surely they couldn't be prosecuted without 100% assurance they were going to commit the crime. On a different view, what would it mean for the butterfly effect if these people were convicted? It could be argued that big data within the film could be playing the role of God, determining free will over death by data. Has big data already affected Zero? Well, in the 2016 US elections it did. Cambridge Analytica, a big data company, was hired by Donald Trump. Cambridge Analytica was based on Michael Krowski's creation of an app called My Personality on Facebook, which supplied huge amount of data on nearly all Americans. And by 2012, he could interpret from 68 likes from a profile, their skin colour within a 95% accuracy, and their political party of choice by an 85% accuracy. Cambridge Analytica founded their first political win in the Leave Party for the British referendum, which I'm sure we all know the result. With these credentials, the Republican Party hired the company. Cambridge Analytica developed a model that could predict personalities and could split them into 32 types. They focused on 17 states that they thought could be divided within the vote, and they sent voter-specific messages. And Trump inevitably won the presidential campaign. Economic liberalisation, the pursuit of the labour market, flexibility, and a technological revolution has changed labour and work, destroying traditional firms and shifting powers from workers to the capital. Initially, workforce did 9 to 5 for many decades, known as a tertiary time regime. Technology has altered traditional jobs with the growth of digital tasking platforms, which is known as the sharing economy. That is boosting efficiency and income through the increased utilisation of assets. Uber and Airbnb are examples of this. They do not own the assets that are used, but rather offer a service where they employ short-term taskers who are supposedly independent contractors, so they're not covered by labour laws. It is quoted, you can hire 10,000 people for 10 to 15 minutes. When they're done, those 10,000 people just melt away. This platform has established a monopoly control of the market for their cheaper prices and surge of employees. It's estimated that 16% of the US workforce is doing temporary gig work as their main job. Within Animatrix, The Second Renaissance Part 1, it shows the challenge of the workforce and how an originally man-powered force fell victim to the corruption and greed to a high-powered few people, which redefined the workplace to a largely technological, machine-based one. This infiltrated the world until machines largely overran it. Further on in the episode, it shows the development and revolt against a new system and technology, where humans fought against them, as did the law. This is similar to what we're seeing today within society, where tradesmen are fighting back against an ever-growing technological-based monopoly. However, within part 2, we learn the power behind the technology can't be defeated due to their productivity and quantity, and they soon come back to claim society. The death of the iconic black cab. Pressures from taxi unions have resulted in new regulations of lanes cabs can use and a £65 million financial support to help update black cabs in London. However, this isn't enough, especially from a transnational corporation, Uber. Mayor Khan has plans to make private hire vehicles take a more traditional taxi test, which would hugely impact Uber's use of high join labour. But it will also impact the drivers foremost, where they will be left to pay to put themselves on the course. The writer about this article also talked how an Uber driver whose English was so unrecognisable she couldn't understand him. However, as her telephone had already told his telephone where she needed to go, the job was dispatched efficiently. Khan can spend money to save taxi drivers and give them a short-term boost to fight against modern rivals, but all this can do is slow the tide, because years spending learning the routes can be instantly downloaded. This means passengers will pay a premium for drivers who actually know where they're going, rather than ones that rely on technology. The freedom of speech and content creation is easily made on the internet that allows the public to misrepresent and lie freely. It has been found out that people are more inclined to lie on the internet because it is not a face-to-face interaction, so it is more easily delivered without the possibility of being caught out. Deception is a lie that transmits information. With the credibility, it can hugely influence choices. The possibility of a lie is often preconceived. It can have large monetary possibilities. A lie can be told for the good of the victim. The truth can be told to pave the way for a later lie. And a lie can even be told with the intention that is not to be believed. The internet is a widely used platform for lying. One of the main types of deception is identity-based. A widely used con was a Nigerian email scam, where con artists deceived random members of the public by saying they were entitled to larger sums of money. However, they did not have the finances to release the money from a court settlement. A different style of identity-based con is phishing, which attempts to steal the public's details once entered into a fake website, which then can be used for fraud. It cost UK consumers in 2005 £23.2 million. An example of online deception and fraud is within Leonardo DiCaprio's Wolf of Wall Street. We see Jordan Belfort lie, deceive and fraud millions of dollars of investors. Jordan overtly tells hundreds of lies between non-face-to-face calls and emails with his investors. He has an air of self-assurance and cool that allows people to believe into his lies and thus be deceived. He used mainly the pump and dump scheme, where he would push stocks on his victims who invested with him until the prices inflated and his company could sell off their holdings to make themselves a large profit and leave client shares to wither. This con would manipulate the stock markets for a financial gain for Mr. Belfort. It is estimated he conned $250 million of investors. According to new research looking at online honesty, which found that online deception is the rule, not the exception. Researchers were interested in online honesty. As they put it, they wanted to find out whether or not people are depicting themselves truly online. People who are more likely to be honest on social media sites like Facebook. Nearly 32% of people said they were always honest on social media. The reasons for this was because social media sites have most links to the outside world. It's a lot harder to lie about your gender or age when you have pictures of yourself, pictures of your family, and most importantly, share acquaintances with people who know you. People were a little less honest on dating sites, and less honest still on anonymous chat sites. People were least likely to be honest on sexual communications websites. What about our expectation of others' honesty online? The short answer is that our expectation about others' honesty tends to mirror our own beliefs about our own honesty. In other words, on sites where we believe we're being honest, we are most likely to be honest from others. But across the board, our expectations of others' honesty were pretty low. Between 55 and 90% of participations in the study believed that others were lying.